Okay, so welcome to Behind the Veil, a program that is streamed live every Tuesday at 2 o'clock to help brides and people involved in weddings and just in general to help answer some of the questions, especially during the current outbreak and some of the challenges that we're facing. I'm super excited to introduce our panel today because we're going to try to do a panel live via Zoom and on Facebook Live. Unfortunately, for my Facebook Live people, you won't be able to see the videos of the ladies that we have on our panel, but I will be posting the video later of the Zoom meeting. So I do have audio for you guys, so you'll be able to actually hear them speak and talk. And then if you want to join the Zoom meeting, just look at one of my posts and then follow the link there. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Marcy Gutenberg. Marcy is the owner of An Affair to Remember by Marcy, as she has over 30 years of experience in the event industry here in South Florida. So hi, Marcy.
Hello. How is everybody today?
Yeah.
Hope everybody is well.
And tell me a little bit about your company and what you do.
Okay, so I actually started, just to give you a little bit of background about me, I have been in the event industry, as Keith said, for over 30 years. I started out on the side of hotels, working in catering, sales, country clubs, and restaurants. And then I decided to branch off because one of my specialties was I was a wedding specialist.
Right.
And one of the things I decided to do was to branch off on my own and get into the invitation world. So now I've held my company now for, this is actually my 13th year.
Wow, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we do have some questions that will be focused on like what to do in the invitation world, which we'll get to in a little bit. Next, I'd like to introduce Nicole Sellers, the owner of, well, I say CLE Events, but I think it's Clay Events. Is that correct? Yeah, I always get that wrong. But so Nicole has obviously been in the industry, obviously in South Florida for a really long time, and owns a decor company with fabulous rentals and does a lot of like build out backdrops and stuff. So hi, Nicole, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
So tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
I like Marcy. I've been in the event industry for a long time. I've been a special event manager for a very large corporation where we did, 300 plus events a year. So it was literally every day, all the time, which was a great round for me. Opened my own business in South Florida because I felt there was kind of a hole in the marketplace for things that weren't cookie cutter. So our company specializes in decor. We specialize in rentals and props and staging. When you're looking for something more unique, you know, when you want your personality to stand out and you want to bring something custom or semi-custom to your event. That's kind of from whether you just need a few props to rent or if you're looking for an entire room or just a photo backdrop. We work in a variety of ways for our clients.
Excellent. And I, you know, obviously we've worked together for a bunch of different events and you always do an amazing job. And then finally, I'd like to introduce Lisa Pierce with Lisa Pierce Events. Lisa opened up her company about 3 years ago, correct? And she has quickly become one of the go-to planners in South Florida and obviously a personal friend of mine as well. So welcome, Lisa, and tell me a little bit about you and your company.
Hi, Keith. Well, first of all, you're so unbelievably sweet to say. So I've been in the event industry for 18 years, but my own company 3 years. I started, you know, not only a planning side, but on production side. So I'm well versed with, you know, everything from entertainment, photography, videography, besides planning. So I'm an event planner and I do everything from weddings to corporate to mitzvahs to social. I absolutely love what I do. I am so grateful every day that I get to do what I do. As you know, Keith, I tell you that all the time, and the joy that it brings. So I just, what can I say? I love it. I wake up every day excited and even under these crazy times that, you know, there's things to look forward to in the future and everyone will be ready to celebrate. So,
Yeah, and they will be. And that's the thing I think that most people need to understand is that, you know, oops, as I thought my
absolutely.
five people, that people are going to be ready to celebrate really soon. And that's
Absolutely.
going to be, you know, obviously something that we want to talk about. And again, I'm going to apologize to my Facebook Live people because of course my phone has decided to just, you know, die right now. So I'm trying to figure out how to put it in and keep you up. Figure that out in a second. All right. So one of the things I'd like to get to is that came out really just recently is that I have been getting 2 questions from obviously brides that are very concerned about their wedding and what to think about and what to do. And so I wanted to get right to those questions. Okay, so this is a good one. And this is, I think, is going to be focused on Marcy. So Marcy, it says, I moved my date, obviously due to the COVID-19. Do I need to send out a new invite? And if so, does it need to be the same kind of invite that I sent out originally? Or there's something else that I can do?
So there is a lot that you can kind of consider in the mix of all of this. Every event is going to be different, whether it's formal or informal. If you're doing a more formal invitation, you can change a date by doing maybe an enclosure card if you haven't sent them out. And if you have sent them out, maybe you can do an RSVP card and have them turn it into an enclosure card that you can just mail just that one piece.
Right.
Another aspect that you can do if you're doing a informal, you can do like a postcard. You can also do an email. You can do paperless post, which I don't always suggest, but you know, it is an option in this day and age. You have to be open and a little flexible.
Right.
There's also an opportunity with Facebook and texting. And if you have your invitation and you haven't sent it out yet, but it still has the old date, you can actually put a sticker on the back of the invitation with the new date to say that, you know, it's been moved.
Oh, that's interesting. So you instead of, so if you already have them printed out, then it's absolutely acceptable to do a sticker?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
And then that would save people money because they've already printed these invitations, and invitations are expensive, you know?
Correct. So those are just some of the ideas behind it all.
That's super smart, and I'm really glad that we were able to like talk about that a little bit.
You can have them reprinted. Some companies, you know, they will do a reprint for you if you want to, you know, spend that money, but it isn't always necessary. You know, I mean, people at this point really understand the struggles of, you know, what is going on with everybody. Yeah. And I think your guests will be very forgiving.
I love it. All right. So again, I'm going to go to my Facebook Live people. If you want to be able to see the panel of people that we've got talking, just follow the link that you see in my Facebook homepage and join the conversation. It's actually quite good. So one of the other questions that I just got, and I'm going to actually direct this to Lisa. It says, with so many people out of work, should I make my wedding simpler to be a little bit more budget conscious as far as with my guests?
That's a question that is really personal, that I don't think there's one answer, because I think it depends that, you know, right now, of course, you do want to be sensitive to what's going on. I think it also depends upon when your wedding date is. Because I do firmly believe that we are going to bounce back better than ever. And, you know, I think that we all need to keep in mind that this wasn't a recession. This was a pandemic that was obviously nobody could have foreseen this coming. So I think it's really up to the individual. And I think it's up to, like, if you know that somebody is struggling and you want them to be there and you have the means to buy their ticket or have, you know, put them up, that's an option. It's something you can do. You can also think about your date. I mean, it's really up to the person. You know, obviously I would tell people having a wedding, you want to have the people that mean the most to you there. I mean, that's the whole point why you have a wedding. You want to be surrounded by your friends and your family and your loved ones. And, you know, if you have the means and you want somebody there and you don't want to change a date, or you know someone's struggling, I mean, gift them a ticket, gift them a, you know, a weekend away, a celebration weekend away. And if it's something to where it's a lot going on and you want people to have time to focus their, you know, to see what's going to happen. And
Right.
you could also, you know, think about your date and things like that too. But I think that's really a personal preference. Because you do want to be considerate. You do want to
Right.
be
You,
considerate of everything.
right. You want to be considerate. You know, you don't want when people are out of work coming to your wedding and then having this really over the top wedding. And, you know, how does that make your guests feel?
Right. And also too, you know, if it's something to where you want your date to be, I mean, and tell people we want you. No, you know, like I would tell somebody too, like if the timing is not right for you, then change your date. Or if it's about decorum, like tell them you're the gift.
Right.
You know, I would send out something like, please, no gifts. The best gift that we can have is for you to join us in our celebration. But I think it's a personal assessment of each individual wedding, because, you know, we do want to be sensitive of, you know, to what's going on. But again, I just
Right.
want to say that it's devastating for all the people that are out of work, but we do have to remember this wasn't caused by a recession. So that's why in my heart, I know things, you know, they will bounce back. And
Right.
I do believe that.
I do too. I 100% believe that. So here's an interesting question, and I thought this was really funny when I read it, and this is actually going to be to everybody on the panel. It says, I'm having masks made with our wedding logo. Is this a good idea?
Go ahead.
I was like, that's awesome. All right. Yeah, I mean, you know, what do you guys think about that? Like having masks made with their logo on it.
I love it. I personally love it because I think that in a time where it's so, listen, masks are everywhere. And I think that there's nothing wrong with embracing it and making some light out of it.
Right.
So I actually think it's kind of awesome, because I'm sure we all know, Nicole, Marcy, Keith, we all know there's people that are really strict about masks. So
Right. 100%.
I think it's cool, actually.
I know. I love the idea. I am so sorry. I am trying to figure out how to make sure our Facebook Live people are able to see everything. So I'm going to adjust the camera to see if we can get like the computer.
What do you think, Nicole? You were about to say something. And
Yeah, what are you thinking, Nicole?
I understand why people are wearing the masks and definitely get it, you know, of social distancing and not sharing. I don't know, it's sensitive depending, I guess, when your wedding is. If your wedding is very soon after this pandemic, then
Right.
I think it makes sense. If your wedding is, you know, 6 months after it, you know, is it, maybe will it cause some, not bad feelings, but bring back some bad memories for people, you know, people who have lost loved ones or friends. I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the line of this one. I could see if your wedding is coming up very soon after this event, that it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek and also keeps everyone safe. If we're a little bit further out, maybe let it just go.
I certainly wouldn't be sending it out a year from now. You know, I get it.
So again, I'm gonna go back to the Facebook Live people, because you know there's a lot of people trying to watch. If you go to my Keith Willard page, not my Keith Willard events page, but my Keith Willard page, and find the thing that says Behind the Veil, you can join us live on Zoom. There's a link that you just put into your browser, and it'll lead you directly to us, so you can be a part of it. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they can't hear me, but. Okay, so then moving on. So, here's a good one. I've gotten gifts for a wedding that ended up canceling. Should I send them back? Everybody's like, no. Oh my God, that was funny.
Why did they cancel? I would probably ask.
Well, no, I mean, they cancel obviously, I think, due to the current
Okay.
circumstances.
Are they
So
rescheduling?
I don't know, the question was
Oh,
pretty.
they're
foolish.
rescheduling, just postponing,
Yeah,
not
but, I
canceling.
mean, so that's one of the things. So what do you guys think? Marcy, what do you think about that?
I think if they're postponing their wedding, they can keep them. If
Yeah.
they're canceling their wedding for other reasons, then they obviously should be returning them. That's just my feeling.
Yeah. And then how about you, Nicole?
I agree with Marcy. If it's being canceled due to other reasons and it's not going to be rescheduled, then the traditional thing is to return the gifts. So,
See, that's funny because for me, I would say, well, no, it's a gift. I mean, they're still getting married. They're not,
yeah,
so
married in the future sometime, but if they're actually just canceling and not getting married, then you just do.
I don't know. What do you think? Lisa?
Well, I actually had this question brought up to me from our Modern Luxury live event. And listen, people are sending you a gift if it's strictly from obviously what's happening right now and not because you broke up, of course.
Right.
If people are sending you a gift, they wanted to send you a gift. They love you. They wanted to send you, a gift. And everybody's kind of in the same boat with rescheduling. If they've already done it and looked at your registry and sent it, I think there's nothing wrong with accepting the gift. And, I also think like etiquette's a fine line here too, as long as you're still getting married. Because everyone has a different priority of what's going on now, that even if your plans changed and somebody wasn't able to make it, or you did a different type of wedding and somebody sent you a gift, I still think it's okay because this is something we would have never imagined going on. So I say accept the gift with pleasure, as long as you're still getting married. If you're not, then don't be a bad person and not return it.
Well,
But,
so what do you think about people that break up before the wedding?
Oh, that has to go back.
Yeah, then it absolutely should go back.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to keep a toaster that's that after you broke up and it's kind of a reminder of your breakup, right? It's like, meh.
Well, it's not etiquette. I mean, that's in poor taste, in my opinion. You wouldn't want to keep that. But if somebody's sending you a gift out of love and happiness because you're getting married, and even if the wedding changes to a smaller scale just because of what's going on, it's still okay. Just send your thank you note. If you don't do that, then then Marcy I'll stick Marcy on you.
All right. So here's an interesting question. I'm actually going to throw this to Nicole. It said, and it's something that I actually hadn't even thought about. It said, should I consider reducing the number of people per table given the current world?
I think there's a lot of different issues, like with a lot of these questions that you need to take into account. How soon is your wedding after, we're kind of open up for business again? How big is your room? Can your room accommodate changing your tables? How many guests do you have coming to your wedding? So again, it kind of, I think, goes back into the time, how we're seeing the progression of this. And, it would be great. I mean, I think everybody appreciates a bit more elbow room at their table if they can get it, because a lot of times they tend to feel a little bit on top of each other with everything that's going on the table to begin with. So if it's possible, I think it's a good idea.
What about you guys, Lisa? Marcy, what do you think?
I think if they can get the elbow room, like Nicole said, I think that's probably the best way to do it, especially moving forward at the soonest. As we head into the later months where things, everything starts letting up, I think that, the restrictions start letting up, then you can kind of get back into having more people at the table.
I love it. So I'm just going to look at my Facebook Live people, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear me, because I saw earlier somebody said that they couldn't hear me. So I just want to make sure. And if you want to be part of the conversation on Zoom, just again, follow the link that I've got on my Facebook page and join us live so you can see our panel of beautiful judges. Yeah. So I'm going to throw this to Nicole again. So, obviously with weddings, we want to do things that kind of pull people together. Oh, sound is very low. Okay. So you want to pull things to bring people together. you know, one of those things is to do like some interesting backdrops, like for a photo op station. I just wanted to kind of get your insights on that, because I know that's kind of your world, that's doing like the backdrops.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of our favorite things to do is kind of create these memories for people, because ultimately your wedding is, you know, one of the fondest memories of your life.
Right.
And people love to be immersive. People love to have their picture taken. We're all about social media nowadays. So people are looking for different ways and different things that they can do to make their wedding more interactive, to make it memorable, to give guests what they want, and to kind of create lasting memories. So there's a lot of different ways we could do this, from very like classic and traditional to more current and theme oriented, that's really memorize or to bring significance to about your personal relationship, not cookie cutter, not just the same backdrop that everybody has, the same floral backdrop or hedge wall backdrop, but really to make it personal and unique.
So on that, you sent me an email just before we started, and I'm just going to share that really quick. And can you guys see that? Can you see that, Nicole?
Yes.
Love.
Right?
So, yeah. Well, these are a couple different things. So even though we are on lockdown and we're all in our homes, it doesn't mean you have to stop planning. This is actually a proposal that I put together for a client who was looking for a special ceiling treatment over their dance floor. And these are a couple of inspiration pictures that they had sent us. And then we kind of was showing them some different, you know, ways that kind of we could create this look that they were looking for.
Right.
And then we actually put together a diagram. Well, these are just, again, more pictures to kind of show things that we could do. But we, based on their dance floor size and how many guests that they were having, we were able to kind of create a diagram for them to line out where we would put everything. And we could be pretty systematic about it, saying, you know,
Right.
based on the size of your dance floor and the number of guests, this is what we would recommend to fill the space. These are different heights. This is what it'll weigh. So to make sure we could work remotely with both the event planner, with the client, with the venue, to answer all of the questions that they might have and still keep the planning process moving forward. Because now is a good time to work with your venue and your event planner to kind of figure some of these things out and to get a proposal put together for you. And you have plenty of time to mull over it and think of it. And then, and then hopefully, you know, then once this lightens up and we can go back to, everybody gets to go back to work, you're way ahead in your planning process. So just because we're in this, oops, that's the last slide.
Oh, what happened? Did I go past it? Let me go back. Hold on. Sorry about that. Technology. Gotta love it. Okay, so let me go back. You were on the...
So it was right after we finished it was the diagram.
Got it. All right, so let me share your screen again. Sorry about that. You know, technology. Boom.
Yep.
There we go.
All right, so then go to the next slide.
Okay, next slide.
So to talk to more specifically about photo backdrops,
Yeah.
we have like basically common to custom. So if you want to kind of go to the next slide.
Next slide it is.
Thank you. So these are a couple examples of your more kind of traditional photo backdrops. Everybody's probably seen these. You know, you've got your typical floral hedge wall or your hedge wall floral combination. This is what we're seeing. You see a lot of very pretty, traditional and kind of a little bit commonplace nowadays, but super pretty. One thing I would just suggest is if you're looking at booking a floral backdrop or hedge walls, really understand that price doesn't mean it's going to be great, but if the average price for most of these things you're looking at is between $500 and $750, for instance, for an 8x8,
right,
and someone is a quote of $300, you know that there's probably a reason. There's a lot of difference in the level of quality that you could get. So just be aware of that fact. So just, I know everybody has a budget to maintain, but a lot of times if, you know, the $300 wall might not meet your expectations. So you may want to make sure and see it in person, or take the advice of your event planner for a vendor that has a good reputation that they've worked with before. Something you could do in, this was a an event we did for the launch of a cover of a magazine in Town and Country. We combined fresh florals with the hedge walls, but you can also add a custom image in the middle. So it could be a picture of you and your fiance and one of your favorite places in the scheme.
Right.
Something to personalize it beyond just your standard hedge wall and floral wall.
Love it. And again, I'm going to go back to my Facebook Live people. I have a lot of people on Facebook Live. Again, if you want to be part of the Zoom conversation, just go to my Facebook page where you see Behind the Veil and follow the link. Yeah? Awesome. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so let's go back to some of our questions. And God, luckily I wrote these down because, oh my goodness. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Is there a way to have my wedding virtual for people that can no longer make it?
Absolutely.
I'll throw that.
Absolutely. I don't know who wants to take it, but we can all join in, but absolutely. For a while now, people would do remote, like simulcasts for family members that could, like, say they were out of the country and couldn't make it before this all happened. So
Right.
It's been done, obviously it's been done to have virtual weddings, but there's a lot of virtual weddings and things going on right now for people who want to keep their date and then still have their party and reception later.
Right.
But I think it's a great way to still have your family and friends with you.
Well, and and the thing is that that's fairly, as technology keeps increasing, that's actually a fairly easy thing to do. I've done a wedding where we actually had a TV set to the side, like a 60-inch TV that had a live video cam on the top of it. And then that way guests could go by and say hi to people and wave. And then I've even actually seen it where it was a touch screen and people could write messages with their fingers and then it would send it off as a little picture frame, and then it would disappear, which I thought was amazing because I just thought that was incredible to be able to interact with people that were watching it from afar, just like what we're doing right now. So just imagine being able to do a share screen that was super easy for people to do. I mean, it goes along the same routes as those photo booths that people are doing, where you're able to like write messages to the bride and groom because they get a copy of it. So I love that. What about you guys? What have you seen?
I mean, I know that they are using virtual reality right now for doing more events, not just it's weddings or bat mitzvahs. They're even using it for a lot of other occasions. Sadly, they're using it for what's going on right now. So there's also a lot of education that you can get out there online right now. So it's a really easy process for some people to be able to access it and not be confined with the restrictions that are upon them. They still can be a part of that special day.
Yeah,
even
100%.
if it's just the couple, there's still that ability to communicate with people one-on-one or with a group of people.
So, that leads me actually to a really great question about planning from afar, right? How have each of you dealt with planning from afar? Like with your florist, with invitations, with, I'm gonna throw it to Lisa to talk about a little bit about that. Like, what are you doing with your clients currently to be able to plan from afar?
Well, we're doing a lot of FaceTime, Skype, whatever method, Zoom, whatever the choice is with the vendors. It's kind of, even with my clients who live in Rhode Island and New York and different places too, we're pretty much have been doing that. So now you're just kind of continuing it on, but now doing more virtual because, as you know, Keith, like your brides who had planned to come into town to go to meetings to continue the planning process, we've now had to do everything, online, so to speak. But the technology is so amazing that, it's just amazing that you can still continue on. I mean, just like what we saw from Nicole and her lookbook and all the beautiful things, and Marcy could show invitations virtually. And I think that's so important because you can still continue on with your planning. and you may have to have it a little bit different. No, you can't do your tasting through your computer. I wish, but for the things that you need, whether it be your entertainment and you want to, communicate, or your photography, your videography, your decor, all of those things, you can still continue on. I mean, it's something that's great. And I think right now more than ever, we're so fortunate that we have that ability to do that, because it's okay to keep planning your wedding. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to be positive, and, like when this is over, I mean, we're going to party. People are going to have fun at their celebrations. And I think that, continuing to look at your, inspiration photos, like Nicole had mentioned, and, go on, see what inspires you. And, you can always have vendor meetings. I mean, virtual.
Right.
So I think it's, I've been doing it a lot. So it's been absolutely helpful for me.
Well, like one of the things, and Nicole brought this up earlier when we were talking about design, putting together a diagram. There's places like AllSeated, allseated.com, I think is right. Am I got that right?
Yes.
Allseated.com. That's a free program that that planners can use to then interact with their clients and putting together a diagram, because both people can look at the diagram and make adjustments, which I find fascinating that they now actually have that's free, because there are other programs out there that I know that hotels pay for and actually pay quite a bit of money to do. So the fact that AllSeated actually has a free program out there is kind of incredible. And then Nicole, you had talked a little bit about planning from afar, but I think one of the things that we wanted to bring up is that if you're going to plan from afar, sometimes it's super important to have somebody that's in your corner. Having a planner in your corner, and I know I'm kind of like selling myself and selling you guys and selling, but the idea is that, you want to reduce the amount of stress, especially during moments like this, where all of a sudden you had to change all of your plans, move your dates, talk to all the different vendors, and being able to have somebody that has phone numbers in their back pocket. I mean, recently there was a specific event that was at a 5-star hotel, and the only way to be able to get a hold of somebody was the fact that I knew somebody personally that is the director of sales there, and because nobody else is actually answering their emails. But if you were just a layman, would you be able to know that person even existed? Right, Nicole? I'm looking at you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people say, do I need an event planner? Should I have an event planner? I highly recommend it, because they're going to save you money probably in the long run, because you want to get the benefit of their experience and the vendors that they work with that are tried and true, that they know are going to give you a great product. But you also get the advantage of, because they use those vendors on a regular basis, that they get a substantial discount, something
Right.
you don't get if you walk into a decor company or something. You don't always get that discount. Also, someone who's familiar with the contracts at the hotels or the venues, there can be a lot of savings that can be had if you have a planner on your side who's good at helping you negotiate your minimums and different aspects of your event. Because Keith and I share a client and that we've done a lot of events with, and they were very used to just going into a hotel room or a hotel and plunking down their money, and whatever they got. They'd be like, okay, so our budget, and the hotel would basically max out their budget, and they weren't getting the best event for their money. So we were actually able to reduce their overall cost with the hotel. So we had enough money to do other things like entertainment, like special decor, to bring it to the next level. And it's been really, really successful. So don't be afraid, but I would not to your brother or sister's girlfriend who got married last year, your own wedding, because that's probably not what you're looking for. And definitely get references, talk to people, see who they recommend, because unfortunately there are people who always try to take advantage of people too. So look for
references.
Get references and find out who has the best rapport with you, and you will find that your stress is much alleviated, and probably that you're going to find resources that you never knew were available to you.
So I'm going to go back to our Facebook Live people, because I know that some people are having a hard time hearing. Again, if you go to the Zoom meeting link, it'll be much easier. Plus, we're going to be you'll be able to see these beautiful people in person. So I've been just watching all of our Facebook Live people come in and go, and so there's been a lot of people interested in what we're talking about. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for you guys. We're not even close to being done, but I just wanted to say thank you before I forgot, because God knows I will. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was your backdrops, Nicole, because you sent me some really beautiful pictures from backdrops that you've done. And I'm gonna just click on that really quick so that you guys can see it. Boop. Let me see if I can get my computer skills going here. And if I don't, sorry. Oh, I got it. Yay. Okay, so let's see if I can share the screen. All right, so I'm gonna go past this because I think this was your backdrop. Yeah, what is this backdrop that we're looking at?
You know, one of the things I was talking about when we were looking at the flower backdrops, those are typical wedding backdrops. So I wanted to show you some backdrops that are really, really fun, that aren't necessarily traditional wedding backdrops, but can bring a lot of life to your event or to your wedding. So this is actually a recreation of the living room from Stranger Things. So say you and your fiance bonded over Stranger Things, or it's a favorite thing, or who knows what it may be. How fun is this for your event, whether it be a bar mitzvah, whether it be a wedding, that this looks like it's like a recreation from Joyce's living room in Stranger Things, but it's actually a photo backdrop. So
I find fabulous with that couch, you know?
Yeah, think out of the box, you know, your photo backdrop doesn't have to be flowers. This is something else I love, you know, everybody wants their storybook wedding. This was actually like kind of an enchanted forest theme, and we had two of these giant books. But imagine, instead of Little Red Riding Hood, that this is your love story. You know, it's the story of you meeting your future husband, and then the shadow box over to the right-hand side can be decored to show your love story. And then it's interactive. You can have performers that are in there and taking pictures, or your guests can get in there and take pictures in your love story. So it's just a totally different way to have a photo backdrop outside of, you know, a flower wall.
What I love is that you could actually put your wedding story on the left-hand side and then an interesting backdrop on the right. I think that's kind of cool. Now, obviously, I'm assuming that this is not a $300 project, but
but it's not that awful either. Obviously, we always want to work within someone's budget, and so budget is important. You know, if you have $1,500 to put into this, you know, we give you different options based on what your budget is. This one was quite large because it was going in a big room and took a bit to set up, but you could do a scaled down version. You could take the idea and transfer it to somewhere else. There's always ways. I know people get crazy with the Pinterest sometimes, and it makes us, you know, we try to manage expectations, but there's a way to take those Pinterest photos that you love and pull pieces of them together to create a look without blowing your budget. So this was actually a whole stage set. This is actually 40 feet long, but 20 feet high. But the idea here was we recreate from Indiana Jones and the, I'm sorry?
Was this Temple of Doom, or which?
That was the first one, the Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah.
So whether your love is movies, or whether your love is archaeology, or whether you happened to meet while you were traveling, think outside of the box and how you could create a photo backdrop to really symbolize your life and your particular quirks and fantasies and future things that you would love to do, and transport your guests. I mean, this is it's something different than just a flower wall.
I love it. I mean, thank you for sending those over, because I really think it makes a big difference for people to be able to see that kind of stuff and to see what the possibilities are. You know, so I'm going to actually throw this over to Lisa. You know, what are some things that people are doing in order to bring wedding guests together? Like, what are some trends that you're seeing that, you know, help people interact? Because, you know, obviously families are meeting each other for the very first time. It's a little stressful. I mean, right? are you seeing any ways of people like building something that allows people to interact in a kind of a non-confrontational way?
Wow. Well, I hope they're not too confrontational because that's going to be life. So, you know, I haven't. I think a lot of people, what I'm finding trend wise too is like for people that are coming in, even for like the rehearsal or Friday night dinner, I find that more people are wanting to do it in relaxed atmospheres. Like I had a client who wanted to do a clam bake and do something different where it's more organic, where you're not uptight and you're really more able to converse and kind of get to know one another. So that's something that I've been really experiencing and people talking about that they want, you have to get dressed up for the wedding. Obviously you want to have, it's whatever your vision is, but I find that a lot of people want their rehearsal dinner and family and friends coming into town to be in a more relaxed environment and be more fun. I've seen people also have like, I had somebody who wanted to do a scavenger hunt.
Oh, that's interesting, for like a scavenger hunt to bring people together.
Yeah, they in teams. So they had like teams, people they would we'd pair people who they didn't know to get to know each other, and you'd find X amount of things, and that was fun. It's kind of like you don't want to say team building, but it all depends on, again, I guess your dynamic of who you're working with. But I've had a lot of people do a little fun things, and even after parties after the wedding. Just to continue to get to know each other. But I think that also too, more personalization, like, and probably Marcy can tell you this too, like even with amenity bags, I've had more and more clients, do certain things that are cohesive to what the wedding is, but also specialize in making them feel special, like having little personal things that particular couple or guest like to have in their amenity bag. So, but mostly I've been seeing a lot of like people wanting to have a more down to earth, fun, Friday night dinner or whatever somebody's coming in. So people have a chance more where it's not so formal. They can talk and have fun.
Right.
So that's what I've been seeing a lot of.
So Marcy, when it comes to like the personalized bags and stuff, what kind of things, because obviously a lot of people feel like, the welcome bag is an essential part of the wedding weekend. And then, to personalize those bags. I mean, what are some options, especially given like the day and age, people need to like watch their budgets. Are there any suggestions about how to do that, to make it personal, yet also be budget conscious?
Well, it really depends on the couple. I think that if you have a couple where maybe they're having a beachside wedding or they're interacting on the beach, you're going to want to include some beach type of items, whether it's flip-flops or towels or something of that nature.
Right.
Versus if you have a couple who, let's say they love to golf, then you're going to want to include some golf things, whether it's chocolate golf balls or some teas or just something just to really bring to light what that couple is about, who they are, right, and letting their guests know who they are.
Oh, that's really good. I really love that. And what I've actually seen is several people that you go to the kind of these off-brand websites like Alibaba, that seems that order the basic bags from them and then bring them to somebody a local vendor to finish out the printing, to finish out the product. I think it's super important that we continue to support local vendors, and especially in this day and age. And you're going to get a much more personalized service from local vendors than I think that you will from like, if you get things shipped all the way from China, like if you have.
Well, I was just going to say that. I mean, I think that especially where we are right now as a country, I really feel it's important. I work with only people, the companies that I work with for invitations are only from the USA. I really feel I want to support those companies, number one. Number two, you're going to be able to get them in a more timely fashion. And the quality of the products because you've already vetted them. I really emphasize to people that, stick with what's in your backyard. Don't venture out of the country because you don't know what you're always going to get in the end. So that's really
I'm going to go back to our questions that we got, and this is kind of an interesting one. It says, you know, my wedding is not plated, but it's stations. What should I be thinking about to help keep my guests safe and secure?
What should you be
Oh,
thinking? Well, I mean, who's the caterer? That's what I'd be thinking about.
right.
I mean, it's your catering. I mean, station. Well, first of all, most caterers who do stations serve the guests.
Which I
So
think is super important, actually.
exactly. So I would not suggest right now doing a buffet where people are touching tongs or whatever. I mean, when you see stations and you have, you know, caterers, they're usually wearing gloves. They're the ones serving the guests, and that's what you want.
Right.
You want the actual caterer, even if it's stations serving the guests.
And I think that's really important. I was thinking, you know, would it be awful to do a sanitizing station? What do you guys think about that? Because I was actually thinking, like, what, you know, to make, like, recently a wedding that I did at the Sonesta, we actually put little bottles of sanitizing on the table that, you know, even if guests didn't use it, it added a level of security, safety that, you know, was kind of unspoken. The idea was that we wanted to make sure that people were able to, you know, sanitize their hands, but not make it so obvious. What do you guys think about that?
I think you're going to see more of that with corporate events. I don't know how it will interact so much with social events, but I do think that you're going to see more of that with corporate events.
I think if you can, and good luck if you can find sanitizer at this point. I just want to say something about Nicole. So not only about her amazing backdrop and stuff, but I did an event with her not too long ago, and I want to bring this up too, Nicole, because not only your backdrops, but the props and things that you have are amazing. And I would be remiss if I did not tell you, like, I had a client, you know, and we did a bourbon bar, and we did a tequila bar, and we did a bubbly bar for Prosecco, and the cart and the decor, and how Nicole made this so special. And whatever event it is, this one happened to be a mitzvah, but I mean, if I were, you know, weddings, and I'll be calling you, I have a wedding client who wants a tequila bar, but I just want to also tell you, like, her props and the things that she does to make something so unique and special. So I'm just bringing this up because now so much more, you know, I'm not a person who likes to be in a box. I think there should never be a box.
Right.
But I just think, like, if you love tequila, Keith, but if you happen to love something and you want to do something unique for your wedding, there's so many cool things that you can do. And what Nicole did for my bourbon bar in the tequila bar and our Prosecco bubbly cart was amazing. And those are, you know, things that aren't crazy, you know, amounts of money. I don't want people to think things are $5 because they're not. And if they were, then I wouldn't even know what to say about that. But I just putting that out there because there's unique ways to also tie things in to make it fun. And also, those also became photo ops, Nicole. Like, even people love the barrels and love that. So I wanted to jump in before, but I was looking at all your fabulous backdrops, but I wanted to mention about all the other immersive decor and props that you have that were incredible to add.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, we're all fangirling a little bit on over each other because I'm a huge fan, obviously, of Lisa, and I'm a huge fan of Marcy, and a huge fan of Nicole. And obviously, we've all worked together multiple times, and we could do a whole show just on, like, crazy moments in wedding history, so to speak. You know, we've all had the one-off, you know, where you kind of just wish the day would finish quickly. But we're getting closer to the end of the show, so I really wanted to just come up with a couple more random questions. And it was like, one of them was, we really want to keep our wedding date because, you know, let's say 10-10-20, right? 10-10-20, it seems to be a big date. Is it okay go to City Hall, get married, and then do a celebration later. So that way your anniversary date stays the same.
Absolutely.
I think that's a cool idea, right? So that way
It's a
you
great
keep the
idea.
anniversary date and then you still celebrate. And maybe you could do something a little bit more specific because it's not, you know, a wedding invite.
I say if you can't, if like when you were mentioning before about people attending or being sensitive to incomes or things like that, but more importantly, if that date has meaning for you and you can go to the courthouse and do it and decide that it's better for you to do your reception in a month later or whatever, I say do what you want to do. Get married to the love of your life and then have a blowout or and just have an amazing reception. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people I've seen, I'm sure everyone has seen like a lot of things that are trending right now where people are, you know, because of what's happened, that they're having, you know, just, you know, two people getting married and then they're going to have their party. They're not postponing their party. I mean, they're not canceling it. They're just postponing it.
Right.
In Europe, it's actually pretty commonplace where, because the only marriages that are legal are done at like City Hall or something. So a lot of people get married at City Hall, but then they have another ceremony or party after where everybody gets to really come. So it's not much different. So yeah, absolutely. Like Lisa said, if it's important to you, save it and then just follow up with the after party once things have settled down a bit. Don't cancel, just postpone.
Right.
I actually saw a wedding on Facebook where somebody got married. They had somebody come over. It was just the two of them and the person performing the wedding, and they're having their celebration later on.
I love that.
I do too.
It was great.
Like, why not?
wonderful.
You know, why not take care of the legalities, and then that way the pressure's off, and then that way you can just get married. You know, I mean, not get married, but just celebrate with your friends and family. I love that idea.
Me too. And I think that I would tell, you know, and I've been telling all my clients this, like, don't let this take the joy out of these moments, because more than ever, life needs to be celebrated and life is a gift. And we really need to take these moments and have these life celebrations. So that's why when I said, you know, better than ever, I think, you know, this is a wake up call. People are really taking to heart about, you know, life is a gift, life is precious, and it's to be celebrated. So I think that whatever's important to you, whether it's your date or whatnot, you know, do what's good for you, but don't take the joy. Don't be afraid, like I said before, to keep planning. Nicole mentioned it too. Like, don't be afraid to keep forging on, because we should all be looking to the future. This is a terrible hiccup. It will end.
Yep.
And we will listen. I can't wait to get back out there. Like I'm like, I'm not running around. I need my bling sneakers on right now. And I don't even like sneakers, but I like, you know, we're all ready to just jump in.
I agree. And, you know, and by the way, my Facebook Live feed just fell. But again, we're going to put this, I'm going to have this translated and we'll post it onto Facebook so that you guys can share this, because we've had some really, really great advice. And so we're coming to kind of the end of the show. So I wanted to come up with like a question that I feel a lot of people deal with, but can be a little bit of an anxious maker. And the question is, how do you respond to people that you don't want to invite to the wedding, but feel like they should be?
Wait a minute, say that again?
Yeah, so imagine that you're at work and somebody knows that you're going to get married and they're like, oh, we can't wait till we get the invite, but you never meant to invite them.
Marcy, you go, because I will be.
I would say that we're actually having a limited number of guests, and though we would love to have you, we are, you know, we're keeping it either small or we're keeping it to our closest family and very, you know, our few friends and so forth. I mean, obviously you can't invite everybody,
right?
You know, but just be honest.
Unless you have other coworkers coming, then you have a little bit of a problem.
Well, then you're
kind of like, so.
Well, you're very close friends.
Yes,
It kind of falls in that category.
yes. I was at number 100 and I wasn't allowed to go over 101. Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's always an interesting moment. I mean, I have people, that I tell that all the time. That I'm like, and I use Marcy's example of like, we found this really intimate space that we just fell in love with, but it made us have to make some really hard decisions when it came to people on invite. And of course, we had to start with our family, and then we kind of threw everybody's name in a bowl that was left, and then so that way there wasn't any specific rhyme or reason that we left it to chance. So that way, everybody had a fair shot of all of our friends that we wanted to invite. And that kind of takes the pressure off of like who we actually chose. But again, I feel like the people that you're talking to, and a lot of people are going to call BS. They're going to like, yes, so.
Go ahead, Marcy.
Sorry. I was going to say, be realistic with your guest list too, because ultimately, when you look back in 5 or 10 years from now, you want to know that you're still in touch with these people. I mean, honestly, if you're putting money into your wedding, you want to have that memory. And, if it's not putting it into a person attending, you put it into the decor, you put it into something else that you're going to have a memory that is going to last your lifetime.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the easiest way to put money towards your other items that you want. A lot of times, and I know Keith, you've talked about this, that, if it's important to you to have that gorgeous backdrop that you saw Nicole design, because it's something that, you've dreamed about, or having something that you've dreamed about, but you have 20 people who you haven't spoken to in 10 years, it's like, then you have to put things in perspective. Like, do I really want, I want the people that mean the most to me to be there that day. If it's somebody I haven't spoken to in 10 years, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't make sense to invite them. Right. I would rather have more of what my dream wedding is than to have people that are really not present in my life. So I 1,000,000% agree, Marcy. And that's the first thing I tell people when they want different types of luxury things. Okay, well, what's important to you? And right. If these people aren't in your life, then you might want to think about not inviting them.
Exactly.
I always said, why do you want to invite the third cousin that's an alcoholic? You don't really want them there. But,
because they have a lot of money and gave you a good gift.
That's right, because they bring you a good gift. I love it.
Just kidding.
That's awesome. All right, so we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to leave it up to each of you to come up with like one thing that you think is kind of an inspirational thing to say to our viewers, to maybe wedding clients that are having a tumultuous time right now, that are, give them one thing of hope. Yeah, and I'll start with you, Lisa.
I think I've said it numerous times on this call that, give yourself permission to keep forging on and planning. And like I said, I think it's been a wake-up call where people are really seeing and appreciating life, and also seeing that there's been a lot of good going on in the country, that, people helping the medical professionals, and like Marcy and Keith Pronovius, and what other people are doing. So when you see the country also coming together to doing good, we need to take from that. We also need to take, not take for granted that, seeing your family and being able to be with your family when you may not see your family that often, or be able to spend time, whether it's on Zoom or FaceTime, but to spend quality time with your loved ones, that a lot of people don't get that opportunity to do. So to try to take, what's going on and take some positivity from it, and just know that, things will get better, and to, don't let this discourage you from having your celebration. That's what I would tell you.
Yes, here. And how about you, Marcy?
I think at this point, life is very short. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you never know when that's going to be, myself included. I've had a family that has been affected. So for me, I think that, keep the people that are in your life close to you and enjoy every moment that is coming your way. This is a time to celebrate when you have that opportunity. Now's the time to do all your planning and really get excited for the occasion, because it is a celebration and it's something very important to you as a couple, and you should enjoy that moment with your family and your friends. So look forward to it.
Love it. And Nicole, how about you?
Well, I definitely agree with both Lisa and Marcy. Those are super good points. I know myself personally haven't been enjoying this time to do things that I never ever get to do, like make homemade bread. Like, who thought I would ever do that? But it's a great
Looked amazing.
It's a great dye my hair pink, although I've done that before. It's a great time to really, spend some time online and looking at ideas, and we will move forward. We will move past this, and there's plenty of people who are out there to help you virtually plan or put ideas together. And it's also going to be important for all of us to get back out there and support each other to help kick off this economy once we're given the go ahead. So start your plans in place, and we definitely will look forward to helping you celebrate 110% when it's safely.
So I want to say thank you to Lisa, Marcy, and Nicole for being on this edition of Behind the Veil. I can't thank you enough. I'm excited about moving forward, and hopefully have you guys back on for like future edition, because I think this was super fun and very informative. And I think that moving forward, we're going to be doing some conversations with some florists and some for lighting people and some entertainment. And obviously, we want to have you three back as well. So thank you guys very much. So thank you again.
Thank you,
for Behind
Keith.
the Veil.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Such
you.
an honor.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Happy planning.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.